Okay.
There's a big file.
You're on.
These are my thoughts on that from Army. So I'm going to take you through my experience with the Army. We'll go over roughly what the military is. And we'll talk about my experiences in Iraq and Kuwait, my experiences getting to know people in the Army. So the Army is obviously a huge organization, millions of people, but this is what you need to know. This is the basic fighting unit of the Army, and it's 4,500 people. It's called the Brigade Combat Team. You have 3 line units, either infantry or tanks, and then you have a cavalry unit, which is what I do. We're scouts. We go in front of our lines and scout out the enemy, and then you have supporting units with field artillery and stuff like that. These are all the jobs that you can have in the military. There's a lot of them. This is actually only a third of them. You can have anything from interior electrician to aircraft electrician to armor senior sergeant, air and missile defense crew member, diver, combat engineer. There are a lot of jobs for people in the military. And this is what our typical timeline looks like. We have either 6 or 12 months of reset time. Reset is when we come back from deployment. We have a year or 2 of training in which we progress from individual training to collective tasks to get ready for a deployment. We have our mission validation exercise, which certifies us for deployment, and then we deploy for anywhere from 9 to 15 months. So like I said, we start off with individual and then collective training. We start off with basic tasks, tasks that a soldier can execute on their own, and then we progress to more and more difficult tasks, tasks that involve larger people, and we call that collective training. This is us practicing a sand table. And I also mentioned about mission validation exercise. That takes place at one of 2 places. They're called combat training centers. This is in Fort Irwin, California, in the middle of the Mojave Desert. We're practicing medical evacuation here in our MOP gear. That's the gear that we wear when we're under an NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical attack. This is a makeshift village that they have set up in the middle of the Mojave Desert, so that way we can practice urban operations, stuff like that. And those rotations are generally 3 to 4 weeks long. We're in the sandboxes, we call it, the entire time. This is us getting ready for a deployment, packing up your entire life into 2 duffel bags. And that's how you survive for anywhere from 9 to 15 months. You get quite adept at it, but it's what you gotta do. And then when you also go to deployment, you can't just think about the soldiers, you also have to think about how the families are affected. Wives, husbands. The ones who stay behind are often the ones who aren't as busy and therefore feel a lot more of the emotional toll. So here are some of the things that spouses go through. And it's especially difficult when you have dual military couples, where both are in the military. This is a video that my gunner, the guy who's on top of the vehicle with the gun, this is a video that he took in Iraq. We were in a town called Husseiniya, it was northwest Baghdad. All that is sewage and scum. Right there in the middle there. It's very disgusting. This is us blowing up an IED. So when we at Harris talk about improving lives of people, this is what I think of. How these people don't even have proper running water and sewage, and this is my background. This is immediately what I think of. This is just dropping the ordnance on a house. We have precision GPS-guided munitions that we employ. We have raided houses. We patrol at night. This is we're going through it fast. All right, there we go. Now we're going to Kuwait. My second deployment was to Kuwait. It was only 4 months. It wasn't a combat deployment. I interfaced with the Amiri Guard, which is the Kuwaiti Secret Service. So we partnered with them. We helped them build an urban operations facility, so that way they could practice their urban operations. But overall, you just learn a lot of different skill sets in the military. This is a guy setting up a drone. Every company-sized element, which is about 100 people, generally has one of these aircraft. And you learn how to employ that. You learn tactical graphics, what those mean. You learn how to have fun and make do with what you have for Christmas. And you learn everything that you would ever want to know about deploying or about shipping things. This is us sending a container back to Kuwait. You learn about the paperwork and the markings that have to go into containers and all the different customs regulations that you have. And in order to have a cohesive organization, you have to build teams. This is us letting off some steam. It's what's called a dining in. We all get together, we have drinks, and we celebrate our camaraderie, and we get to know each other. And then also at a very young age, you learn about death and grieving, and you learn how to fight back from it. So this is David Croft. He's the reason I wear this. He died from an IED when he was only 1 week away from redeploying back to the States. He's from Plant City, Florida. He's a very special guy. But you learn how to recover from those experiences. And then you have life-lasting friendships. Different people, different places, you sometimes lose touch, but when you see them again or talk to them again, you just pick it up right back the way it was, because every one of those people goes through the same thing. And leadership is not just this. It's not just standing in front of people and giving orders and pointing and people executing. It's also learning how to motivate. You can motivate through negative or positive reinforcement. So you gotta learn a little bit of each. The guy on the right is a guy I had to fire. I was 23 years old and he was 10 years my older. I had to fire him because he wasn't doing his job very well. That was really tough for me because, I'm 23 and just out of college. I don't know how to fire someone, but I did. And then this is a guy, one of my soldiers, cutting my hair off. I put my head up for sale, and they were donating money to a good cause, and you try to have fun with opportunities when you can, and get them to get excited about some things, even something as silly as cutting off your hair. So, I think that's about it for this. Yep. Any questions? Why did I join the Army? So my dad was in the Army, and he by no means forced me to go, but I saw the camaraderie that he had with the people that he worked with, the real tight friendships that he had. So I knew that I wanted to be in the Army in some capacity, and I knew I was going to college, so it was either West Point or ROTC. The first ROTC didn't offer me a full scholarship, so I went to pretty much because my dad was in, I'd say. Yeah.
So how have you found the transition from military to policy? And I think you're still active.
I am still active, yeah.
Back and forth.
It's weird, to be honest, because I'm not used to the civilian lifestyle still. But it's definitely been great. How do I answer that? So with the academic side of things, I could literally feel like the cogs in my head working out all the cobwebs as they started to turn again, because it's a totally different side of my brain that I had to reactivate coming back to school. Relating to you all, I don't think has been terribly difficult. I mean, the Army is a people business, so there's that aspect. And then I think all the free time that I've had, I just don't know what to do with it. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Oh, you got one? Yeah.
We didn't see women in the picture. Are there women?
There are women, but not in my unit. So, no, I'm in a cavalry unit, and only until this year, we're women allowed to enter cavalry units. So up until this year, we haven't been women allowed. I have a group of women in the schoolhouse, but it's just a function of the job that I was in. So actually, that's going to be something that's really going to be tough for the soldiers to get through, is working with women in the field in such close quarters. It's not difficult for a lot of people, but for some people it is, and just getting used to that, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. Is there training for it? We have call it professional military education. We have sexual assault classes, we have things like that, but in terms of gender integration, I have not seen anything about about that. It's going to be more at the unit level, people like me, you know, telling soldiers that this is coming, this is a good thing, you're going to have to get used to it. Okay? All right, thank you.